I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Ag Forecast for South America, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Let's look back over the last 45 days. So in other words, since really the start of this new year at Precipitation Anomalies, and what we notice is that it's been Brazil's eastern growing areas with pockets in its north-central area that's been the driest. We've been quite wet at times through Brazil's southern growing areas and parts of Argentina as well, with some recent big rainfall events. So again, this is a map showing you percent of normal precipitation. It is based off of the CPC rain gauge data. Now, when I look with satellite more recently, so this would be February 1st through February 7th, you can see over here on the total precip map, we've returned quite a bit of moisture at times over to Brazil's east. In fact, the map that's on the right is all the precipitation that's been in excess over that time period, basically a week here, of 2 inches. So there's been some pockets of much heavier rainfall. But if you notice, the models over-predicted precipitation in parts of Argentina, and the values here were much less than what was initially predicted, and that's partly true for parts of southern Brazil as well. So keeping that in the back of our minds, what are we watching as we go forward? Let's go to the operational European model to see this. Keep an eye on this high-pressure cell here, okay? As I play this forward, what you're going to notice is that high-pressure cell moves off the coast. And as a result of it, we're going to be seeing right along the coast. So from Uruguay in through parts of this part of Argentina, Buenos Aires, we could possibly get a corridor in through there of some heavier rainfall. Do you see what I'm talking about here? We'll get more routine thunderstorms in parts of Argentina. And it appears that a more normal monsoonal pattern here in parts of Brazil's northern and eastern growing areas. That high pressure cell, just look, I'm kind of rocking back and forth all the way to this weekend. It won't be until the weekend that it finally moves on off to the east and allows for a bit of a change of a pattern. In other words, a drier week 2 for parts of Argentina, which is where we're going to watch most critically, I think, moving forward. So I put all that together over the next week. This is total accumulated precipitation. Now remember, this is in millimeters. So when we look at it, an inch, is down here around 30, and 4 inches is roughly 100 millimeters. So what we notice is that there are some pockets that are going to be quite wet, but maybe it'd be more instructive to see this in terms of anomalies. So here's that wetter corridor I mentioned. You can see that's also going to be quite stormy up against the Andes Mountains, but right in between the two, we're going to watch out for hit or miss thunderstorms throughout this week. Southern Brazil, we don't see major anomalies here, even working our way up into southern Mato Grosso and then Mato Grosso do Sul, but we're wet all along the periphery of that. Now, as we work our way out through the next 10 days, we don't see any signs of heat stress in through Argentina, Paraguay, southern Brazil, and really even in northern growing regions of Brazil, no major heat stress, at least being forecast right now by the models. But as we get out into week 2, this is where I really wanted to get to in this video. The models continue to paint this area wet, and that includes the very dry sections of eastern Brazil, and where we're currently harvesting this crop in Mato Grosso, which, as you know, is pretty far behind. But I want to talk about this because despite the fading La Nina, despite MJO moving into phase 7, despite these features changing in the tropical Pacific, what we continue to see looking longer term is that from February 15th through March 15th, it appears that this area in the models, it just appears that it's going to continue to favor much drier than normal conditions. Wet here, where we're trying to get one crop out and plant a second. And then notice this. This is brand new seasonal data, February, March, and April. The models are really, they're mostly seeing this in February, but they're really focusing in here on drier conditions in Argentina, southern Brazil. And one last thing I would like to share with you, the long-range model updates for the month of April, which is critical for the finishing of the safrinha corn in this area, is showing dry. Now, we got to wait and see how this all evolves, and I think it will hinge on the MJO, La Nina, the Antarctic Oscillation, TNI, TNA, all of these different factors. I'll keep you posted. We'll watch how they evolve in the coming weeks, but the area that I have the greatest risk moving forward is going to be in parts of Argentina and southern Brazil. All right, let's keep an eye on it together. I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.